This weekend, millions of people around the world are preparing to set off on their summer holidays, all about in the middle right now of planning where they're going. This year is expected to be a record breaker for foreign travel. More than 1.5 billion tourists due to travel, a large proportion in the next few weeks. And it is a uniquely 21st century phenomenon, selfie culture too, one that has repercussions across the planet. Major cities like Barcelona, Paris, Amsterdam, these images, in fact, from locals, those that are worried that it's eroding local culture, and this is what happened in Barcelona on Saturday. Well, we can see water pistols clearing tourists from tables. Let's bring in Daniel Pardo Rivacoba, one of the protest organisers, member of the Assemblea Neighbourhood for Tourism. Great to have you on the programme, Daniel. First of all, just explain what was behind the images we've just seen, the water pistol protests.
Well, I'm sorry, but I can't see the images.
I'm sure you've seen them this week. It's the same ones of people being cleared from tables and the water pistols in action.
Well, I think it's much more interesting to talk about the images of thousands and thousands of people protesting against the tourism process. The images you're talking about, unluckily, is the one so many media are focusing on. Honestly, that's just an anecdote, a little accident that took place in that demonstration. And to us, it's, as I said, just an anecdote. It's just squirting some water on other people. I know that some people talked about this like kind of violence. This seems really ridiculous to us. That's not violence. There are many kinds of violence. And the ones that touristification process makes on the people and on the city of Barcelona are much harder. So to us, it's really surprising and kind of difficult to understand why everyone is talking about 4 water guns used by some people in the demonstration, which we don't think is bad. It's not what we organized, but each one is free to express themselves as they like, whenever it's not violent. This is not violence. So I'm sorry, but I can't really understand, and this is not only about you, it's about so many media, why the news is 4 people squirting water on some tourists, and not the fact that there were around 50,000 people demonstrating against touristification process in Barcelona.
Well, I'll tell you why it's a story, Daniel, and you're quite right. Any media that described it as violence is ludicrous, of course, because it's water being sprayed on people. It's no more than that. But here's the thing. I just want to know, the images that we've seen, we've had the tourism minister saying these are reprehensible, they're repulsive, but they were exaggerated by the media. And you're saying actually these were a small number of people. I think you've said 4. The images we've seen is people being cleared from tables, people being moved. And I'd like to know, if it was small, is it something that was apropos of nothing? Or did you plan this to say, actually, let's do this, this will get attention? Or did you organise for water pistols to be used?
I'm sorry, I already said this to you. This was not planned by the organization of the demonstration. But we have nothing against it. I mean, we think that tourists are not the real responsible for the touristification process and all the social and environment impacts it has on the city and its population. But we understand that some people turn against tourists because finally that's the face of touristification we know in the city. And luckily, the people getting rich and making money on our suffering and on the process of touristification, they don't come to see us. You can be sure that.
Yeah, tell me, Daniel.
If they had been there,
it gives you that. No, it gives you that platform because of what's happened, because of the pickup and these images we've seen as the water pistols being used to describe what it has been like. I've lived in Barcelona. I was a correspondent based in Catalonia for some time a few years ago. I've seen and witnessed change myself, but just describe to me the extent of the change you've seen over the years, when you think it began as well. Just take me back a little bit and how your life has changed and whether it's true to say culture has been eroded.
So the thing is not that much about culture, it's about material conditions of life.
Yeah.
It's about being kicked out of your home. It's about being kicked out of your neighborhood. It's about being kicked out of the city. It's about being exploited at tourism jobs. It's about not being able to walk, to go shopping, just the day-to-day shopping, because of two reasons. One of them is that streets and squares are crowded, and it's impossible to move in there in a good way. But also because the shops we went to disappeared, replaced by tourism shops and services that are absolutely useless for locals. It's also because the public transport network is also crowded by tourists, and buses just pass by and they can't stop and you can't take them. It's a whole list of impacts in the day-to-day life that makes that this activity of tourism industry in the city is absolutely incompatible with local life in the level it is nowadays.
And you've put forward, Daniel, a number of things, haven't you, to say, here's a solution, look at this. Just tell me about a number of the issues on your manifesto to bring about some kind of change in Barcelona.
Our proposal for changes is very clear. It's on the name of our assembly, and it is called Tourism Degrowth, Reduction, Tourism Activity and Mobility, reduction, also very important, of the weight of tourism sector in the economy of the city, and diversification of economy in other sectors that are plus fair and compatible with life. Because this one, it ain't at all. And we are just talking about the effect and the impacts on the city. But let me say something about the impacts on the planet. I mean, tourism is responsible for more than 12% of the emissions of the CO2 emissions in the world. So it's just not possible to go on like that. It will crack down for sure, before or later. So what we're saying is, let's do it planified. Let's think about it before and how it must be done. Because if we don't think about it before, it will just be a world crisis that will attack mainly, as ever, the poorest ones.
Daniel, great to talk to you. It's going to be one of our main issues tonight on our debate with 4 correspondents around the world, in the world this week, discussing exactly that, mass tourism. I wish you weren't here. Protests, great to have you. Daniel Pardo Rivacoba. Stay with us here on France 24. We'll be back in just a tick.